And not too long ago, Leslie shared a video called 8 Days and Gone. It was all about how fast homes fly off the market here in our area, with over 50% of them selling in just over a week. But today, we're flipping the script. I'm going to show you 3 homes that have been sitting not for 8 days, but for over 180 days on the market. That's 6 months or more with no buyer. And here's the kicker. A couple of these homes are ones that I've already shown you before on my neighborhood tours.
A little bit about this home. It's currently active on the market. There's a little creek in the back, and there are other neighborhoods on the other side.
So, the big question is, why haven't these homes sold in such a hot market? Well, stick around because the reasons might surprise you, and they're the very things that buyers and sellers need to know. But before we try to figure out why these homes just won't sell, let's go ahead and get started right now. Hi, my name's Steph, and along with my wife Leslie, we are local real estate agents here in the Shenandoah Valley and Charlottesville areas of Virginia, and it is our honor to help folks all the time, just like you, who call us, text us, or email us, who are looking to sell their home or to purchase a home here in the area. Folks from locally and folks from all over the United States and honestly all over the world. And if that's you, we'd be honored to help you as well. To check us out, all of our information is in the description below, and please don't hesitate to call, text, or email so that we can help you as well. It's our honor. Additionally, if you like our channel, if you like learning about real estate things here in the area, and you also like learning about the homes and neighborhoods, special events, fun things here in the area, history, whole bunch of stuff here on our channel, we'd love it if you click that subscribe button, touch that bell icon so that you don't miss a minute of Virginia Mountain Valley living and all the places we go and all the things that we do. So, why do some homes sit on the market for a really, really long time? Well, you know, as local real estate agents here in the area, other agents who have homes listed for sale often ask what our thoughts are that when we have shown those homes to some of our folks who are looking to buy. And if it's been on the market for quite some time, they often ask, why do you think it's not selling? Now, while there may be multiple reasons why a home doesn't sell, most of the time it comes down to 3 things: price, condition, or location. Now, it may be one or a combination of these things, but these are usually things that are in the mix. So today, I'll talk about these 3 common reasons that a home doesn't sell by showing you 3 homes that haven't sold after being listed for at least 6 months, as I said. I'll give you some details about each home and show you some pictures, and let's do this. Rather than me commenting on each home, although I'm going to, let's have you leave comments as to why you think these homes aren't selling. But here's a word of caution. You and I may have suspicions about why a home isn't selling, but we don't have the entire picture of what's going on behind the scenes. So please be professional and kind in your comments, but I do want to hear what you think. Additionally, I'm going to give you several other reasons along the way as to why homes don't sell, and I'll mention these other reasons while showing you each of these 3 homes as well. Now, it doesn't mean that every reason that I talk about applies to that particular house, although some might. It's just to give you some information to consider. I mean, really, the myriad of reasons a home might not be selling. Or if you're a buyer, what you should watch out for and some questions you should ask when purchasing a home that's been on the market for a long time. So, our first home is located in Waynesboro in the Claybrook neighborhood and is currently listed at $590,000. Now, looking at this the listing history, this home was originally listed over 400 days ago on July 9th, 2024 for $610,000, and it was later reduced to $599,000. Then, on February 23rd of this year, 2025, it was relisted again at $610,000, and its price has since been dropped again to the $590,000 that we see today. So, let's go ahead and take a look at those 3 main factors: price, condition, and location. First of all, price. Could price be a factor? Well, I mean, possibly. While the home has already seen some reductions, it still may be sitting at the higher end of buyer expectations for this neighborhood. More to come on that in just a second, though. But what about its condition? Well, as you can see from the photos, the home itself is in very nice condition. Now, while I don't think it's the case here, here's the thing about homes, though. Buyers can sometimes be turned off by things like deferred maintenance, such as an older HVAC system, a roof that might soon need to be replaced, or obvious repairs that haven't been addressed. I mean, even things like cluttered or overly personalized decor can make it hard for buyers to picture themselves living there. But what about its location? Well, this home is in a good neighborhood, which is definitely a positive. However, other homes with location issues definitely affect marketability of the home. Not this one, but other homes can, and it can happen in other homes. Homes that are near busy roads or noisy neighbors or power lines or even an industrial area can be less appealing. And sometimes if buyers perceive that a neighborhood is in decline, whether that's due to school ratings, safety concerns, or a high turnover of homes, they're just not interested in the property. But now let's talk about some other factors that could also influence whether or not a home sits or sells. Sometimes if you own the largest and most expensive home in a neighborhood where there's a good number of homes that are smaller and less expensive, it can be a challenge to find buyers willing to pay top dollar. For example, when you compare the Claymont and the neighborhood that's next to it, the Evershire neighborhood, where this home is located, there are noticeable pricing differences, and this home falls into the more expensive category. However, this home is set with the more expensive homes in the area. Although there are some homes a street or two over that are still very nice homes but are of lesser value. Curb appeal is another big one. First impressions matter, and buyers often make up their mind before they even step inside. You know, we've had situations where buyers scheduled a showing with us, drove by the property before the showing, and immediately called us back and said, "Never mind, we're not interested." You know, landscaping, exterior paint, and the overall presentation from the street can make or break interest in a home. Now, inside the house, updates matter, like I said before, and of course, an outdated kitchen or bathrooms or flooring that feels worn out can all be turnoffs, even if the home is in otherwise good shape. And let's not forget about smells. You know, those odors from pets or smoke or even heavy cooking can cause buyers to walk away very quickly. But here's another thing that's happening right now. Some sellers and agents are still thinking like it's 2022 when buyers were competing and offering above list price very frequently. Today's market, however, it's very different. And while it's still a seller's market here in our area, it's not as strong of a seller's market as it was 2 or 3 years ago. And overpricing based on old expectations can definitely stall a sale. And finally, not every homeowner who lists is truly motivated to sell. Sometimes sellers put their house on the market thinking, well, if I get my price, I'll consider selling it. And that kind of approach often leads to homes sitting unsold for long periods of time. So let's take a look at our second home located in the Willow Ridge neighborhood in Harrisonburg. This is a property that I've shown you before, and it has an interesting history on the market. It was originally listed on October 28th, 2024 as a rental for $4,000 per month, which is really pretty steep for the area. Then on November 11th, 2024, it was listed for sale at $675,000 before being reduced to $609,900. Now, most recently, on August 4th of 2025, it was relisted again for rent at $4,000 a month, but it's also still actively for sale at that $609,900 price. So let's take a look at those three main factors once again: price, condition, and location. First of all, price. You know, this is likely the biggest challenge here with this home. When we compare this home's asking price to the estimated home values in the neighborhood, its asking price clearly makes it the most expensive home in the area. And honestly, like I said before, that alone can shrink the pool of potential buyers. Nobody wants to overpay for a home. So what about its location? Well, the neighborhood is decent overall, but there are some things worth noting here. This home sits in a community that includes both attached and detached homes, duplex type homes. And in fact, some of those attached units are located right across the street. Now, they're very nice, but for buyers looking at spending over $600,000, with some buyers, that mix can sometimes be a deterrent, since they may prefer a neighborhood made up of entirely single-family detached homes. Now, let's also talk about some other factors that may or may not be affecting this property. One issue that sellers can have when their house sits on the market too long is that a home could be large but only have construction grade finishes. Now, buyers who are paying top dollar expect top quality, and if the finishes don't match the price, they'll walk away. And now, another key factor is ownership history. When a home is purchased and a year later comes back onto the market with little or no improvements, but with a significantly greater asking price, buyers notice that. For example, if a $450,000 home suddenly reappears at $550,000 a year later without any upgrades, that really raises red flags. And here's the key. Buyers today are much more savvy today. I mean, there's tons of information out there today on the internet. They can easily check past sales through public, county, or city records, and realtors have even more detailed information through the MLS. So when buyers see a big markup without a clear reason, it feels like they're being asked to overpay, and that can quickly turn them off. Now, in some cases, there's also the HOA factor. Now, whether you like living in an HOA or you don't like living in an HOA, that helps shape the feelings and thoughts about a home by some people. Now, while this neighborhood that we're talking about right now has no HOA, some neighborhoods have high fees, strict rules, or even the possibility of special assessments. Now, depending on the amenities provided, like pools or gyms or clubhouses, an HOA can feel like a good value, or it can feel like an unnecessary burden. But if fees are high and amenities are minimal, it will discourage buyers without a doubt. And finally, inflexible sellers can create their own obstacles. And sometimes it's not the big ticket items that derail a deal, but the petty little things. Now, you know, Leslie and I, we recently helped a couple who called us while watching our YouTube videos, and the home they purchased here in the area had a seller who refused to fix a leaking shower head. I mean, something that would have taken just a few minutes and a few dollars. And it's that kind of pettiness that sends the wrong message. I mean, buyers start thinking, if the seller won't even take care of that, what else are they going to refuse to do? And I mean, I get it. It's a small thing, and sometimes we don't ask for small things. But when a buyer does ask for that, it can create confusion and make that buyer feel that the seller will be difficult to work with, which can ultimately push that buyer away. Now, I'm happy to say that in this case, our buyers had a more agreeable and mature mindset, and they went ahead and they're now living in a home that they really, really like. Our third and final home is located in the Winward Point neighborhood in Fishersville and is listed for $1,800,000. Now, this home was originally listed on July 1st, 2024 for that same $1.8 million price tag. But this isn't the first time it's been for sale. It's been for sale for multiple years, many of those without the help of a realtor. What's even more interesting is that the listing says the house was built in 2024, when in fact, according to county records, it was actually built in 2016. Now, here's where it gets even more unusual. To my knowledge, this house has never had an owner other than the builder. Even though it's been rented out at various times over the past 10 years, it's really rare to see a home that's nearly a decade old that has never been sold. So the obvious question is, why? Well, let's break it down by looking one last time at those three main factors: price, condition, and location. Price. I would say this is almost certainly a factor. Now, while the property does have million-dollar views and is undeniably a beautiful, beautiful home, that $1.8 million asking price may likely be keeping buyers away. But what about its condition? Well, like I said, the home is it's in extremely nice condition because it's been well maintained and it's been rented sparingly. It doesn't have the typical wear and tear you might expect in a 10-year-old house. And so, like I say, you see it is beautiful. And what about its location? Well, on the surface, the location is excellent. The home sits high above some of the most popular neighborhoods in Fishersville, and it offers incredible Blue Ridge Mountain views. However, the challenge is that while it overlooks very nice homes, most of those nearby properties fall in the $400,000 to $700,000 price range. And that creates a mismatch because this home isn't nestled among other properties in the $1 million price bracket, or it's not set in a more private location, which makes it harder to justify that premium. Not that it's not a beautiful home, but that location might be part of it. Now, let's talk about some other factors that could hold any home back from being sold. One issue that I believe does apply to this home, though, is unusable yard space. The home sits on 2 acres, which sounds great, but much of the backyard is a steep hill. And while the elevated setting is one of the home's most beautiful and best features, those incredible views that it has, it also limits outdoor recreational opportunities. You know, buyers in this price range, and really in any price range, they often expect and want to have, in most cases, a more usable yard if they're looking for a yard with 2 acres. You know, they want space for entertaining or pools or, you know, kids to play, and that's just not something that this property really offers, or it doesn't offer a whole lot of that room. Another factor is the niche market for $1 million homes. Here's what I mean by that. In Augusta County, homes priced under $1 million in the past year have gone under contract in an average of just 32 days. But homes over $1 million, those sit on the market an average of 125 days before selling. So simply put, there's a much smaller pool of buyers, obviously, who can afford exclusive luxury homes. And many times it takes longer to connect with the right buyer at that level. But certainly almost 10 years is, I would think, a little long. And finally, sellers need to consider their holding costs. If your home isn't selling, every month you hold on to it is costing you more money in property taxes, utilities, insurance, and possibly a mortgage. For example, if your carrying costs are $3,000 a month, that's $36,000 a year. And if your home's set on the market for over a year, if you just reduced your price and sold the home a year earlier, you may have saved that money. Of course, I get it. If you own the home outright with no mortgage, the pressure isn't the same. But even then, it's important to do the math. Sometimes holding on to your ideal price ends up costing more than just adjusting the price and moving on. So in this case, even though the home is stunning and offers some of the best views in Fishersville, it hasn't sold. And it's probably a combination of pricing, market niche, and property-specific challenges that has kept it from selling for nearly a decade. But what do you think? Why haven't these homes sold in a relatively hot market? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. But just remember, like I said before, none of us knows the entire backstory, so please keep it courteous and respectful. But hey, here's one last thing. Sometimes it's not the house, it's the marketing. Bad photos, weak descriptions, limited exposure, or even making showings hard to schedule can all kill buyer interest before they ever walk through the door. And that's why you need more than just a sign in the yard or a basic MLS listing. And that's why Leslie and I go way beyond those professional photos and a sign in the yard. You know, we use professional photos, but we also use video and social media. And yes, even this YouTube channel, we have put homes that we've sold here in front of a worldwide audience. And that's how we've helped buyers, not just here in the Valley, but even from places like France and Germany, find their new home. So whether you're selling and want your home to stand out, or whether you're buying and you just want straight answers about why a home's still on the market, we'd love to help. All of our contact information is in the description below. And who knows, whether you're trying to move a hard to sell home here in the area or you're hunting for the perfect property, we might just see you around town.